Now, Major Hurricane Erin is going to intensify one more time as it makes its turn towards the north. Now, this is bringing a lot of threats towards Turks and Caicos, a little bit towards the southeastern Bahamas, but it's getting really close towards the east coast. Overnight, it has wobbled south and west again. Plus, we still have that big cool down coming down with that trough as we get this next wave coming through, which could potentially be something weak or organized at the last moment and be something very strong. So I'm going to go through the latest details now. What are you going to expect from Major Hurricane Erin in the near future? Now, one thing you can see from that next wave coming that they have shifted their latest advisory a little further towards the north. Still showing this is potentially going right over the Leeward Islands again, and then it could either get pulled towards the north or sneak under that trough and go towards the west. Bahamas did put out tropical storm watches for southeastern Bahamas and a tropical storm warning for Turks and Caicos. Turks and Caicos is going to be really close towards the strong winds. Still showing the same rainfall rates. Puerto Rico still isolated up to 4 inches possible for the western portion of the island, isolated up to 6 inches for the rest of the island. And you can still get 1 to 2 inches over here for Haiti, Dominican Republic, Turks and Caicos, and southeastern Bahamas. Moving away with the winds now, but you can see right here for Turks and Caicos, you are going to be closest towards the strongest winds as this swings by than as it goes by the coast. And before I get attacked again, you can see right here, Erin has been wobbling around, but appears to be moving a little to the south of the previous track. And the NAC track forecast has nudged to the west in the short term. Matter of fact, the latest advisory that just come out has stretched even further towards the Leeward Islands. And Erin is still wobbling, everybody. It has been wobbling around, but appears to be moving a little to the south of the previous track. It is still moving west-northwest at 12 knots on the south side of the subtropical ridge. You can also see in 5 days, as it's making that turn from Wednesday into Thursday along the east coast, that the next tropical wave has gone up in confidence as you go 6 days. This is bringing a chance of up to 70% chance of a tropical depression as this goes further towards the west. Now, as we get around 8 days, this is where it's either going to get pulled in by that trough and get sheared like I showed you, still could get some kind of close formation towards land, or it's going to sneak towards the west. The latest shows that it will further go towards the west more than likely than towards the north. But you still can see more likely still will curve either into the Atlantic towards the east coast or towards Florida. Showing that as we go by overnight into the early morning hours, it could bring anywhere from 30 to 40 miles per hour sustained winds over for Turks and Caicos. Way less as it goes by southeastern Bahamas as that pushes further towards the north. Also showing you wind gusts will be somewhere around 40 to 50 miles per hour wind gusts. A little bit more of a nudge to the west. You could be in the 60s or more. Showing the wave height starting this afternoon will grow all the way from 10 to 12, maybe even 14-foot waves by the time you go through tomorrow morning as this pushes through to the north. Southeastern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, y'all gonna get some pretty high waves for sure. Latest update shows maybe by Wednesday as this passes by the European that you could get anywhere from 30 to 40 miles per hour sustained winds possibility right along the coast of North Carolina as that pushes in. And you can see right along the coast of the Northeast as well. You could get towards that 30 and 40 miles per hour sustained winds whipping by with this system. And the European is showing that next storm system could be coming that direction as well. GFS has come to more agreement of the European, so it did show true to those Western ensembles that I showed you about the other day, and it shows the same impacts as the Euro. The only difference is that next one, it shows that it could be a direct hit as it goes towards the Carolinas Friday, August 29th. This is only one run. This is only by the GFS so far. It's still past 10 days. I like to make it a point that the icon is showing in closeness as well. It's even bringing those 30, maybe even 40 miles per hour sustained winds. Now this is a 0Z. When you go by the 60 this morning, it shifted way further towards the west, everybody. Remember, when the storm goes through an eyeball replacement, it does do a wobble as it gets itself back together. And if this storm intensifies a little stronger than forecasted, which it already has done once before, this could be our outcome. So we need to look towards this a little bit. I think it would be a little bit east of this, but showing the same thing that Turks and Caicos had, y'all potentially could have over here along the east coast. Could bring you the 40 and the 50 miles per hour wind gusts with the 40 miles per hour sustained winds so far. Now, once you go towards Wednesday afternoon, this is where you're going to have a lot of riptide currents and some dangerous tides coming through. And this is going to bring waves anywhere from 10 feet all along the southeastern coast, pivoting still towards the coast of North Carolina, where you get anywhere from 12 to 14 feet right out there. Then it's way further out, so it's up to 50-foot waves way out into the Atlantic. But still going right by the northeast as well, bringing chances for the 8 to 10-foot waves, but also bringing that chance for the riptides that you need to watch out for. And once again, if this shifts a little bit further towards the west, these waves will be higher. Latest information from National Hurricane Center shows you could get heavier rainfall for Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. You could get some flash and some urban flooding, maybe some landslides or mudslides, so please be careful over there. Also for Turks and Caicos and central Bahamas for Monday and Tuesday, you could get some tropical storm force wind gusts coming from the rain bands, so be aware of that as well. Now for the east coast of the U.S., Bermuda and the Atlantic Canada, Erin is expected to produce life-threatening surf and rip currents along the beaches of the Bahamas, much of the east coast of the U.S., Bermuda, and Atlantic Canada during the next several days. Also, interest along the North Carolina and Mid-Atlantic coast and Bermuda should monitor the progress of Erin, as there is a risk for strong winds associated with the outer rain bands. Now, this is during the middle part of the week. This is coming in from Wednesday into Thursday. Now, you can see here from National Hurricane Center, as we're dealing with Erin going north, in 72 hours, we have 2 tropical waves coming through. One's a little farther to the north, more than likely will curve into the Atlantic. It's this closer one that we need to look at. Latest information from Euro shows that in 6 days, and more likely will get pulled around the high pressure into the Atlantic, while it gets sheared still from this trough coming through, but still could be out there in 8 to 9 days as it swings by. So far showing a close miss. Need to watch out for Bermuda on that run. GFS has been showing some wobbling, and you can see this. As GFS goes towards the west, showing that high pressure expands a little bit more. That trough is not as strong as the Euro is seeing it, and it wobbles around the islands. One round takes it towards the east coast. The next run takes it all the way to the west into the Gulf. So you can see how unpredictable it still is on that wave. However, when we look at the Euro ensembles, more likely we'll agree that it is going towards that west-northwest path, but you can still see all the ensembles showing it could stay right north of the islands and curve towards the U.S. and other areas. So we definitely need to watch it. Showing it can go anywhere from a tropical storm all the way up towards a Cat 4 hurricane in the ensembles. Now, you already know how warm the waters are in the Caribbean plus in the Gulf, so that's very concerning in itself. If it follows the same track as Erin, remember Erin is eating up a lot of that ocean heat as it got really big. The part that concerns me is if it goes into the Caribbean or the Gulf, you have a lot of deep ocean heat. Now remember, Erin intensified going through this deep ocean heat right here. Look at all this. This is extreme. It will intensify quickly if it taps into this in the Caribbean. Showing you still going through this big dome of heat as we go through the week. So be aware you have very hot temperatures coming through. We're still in August. But showing when that cold front comes through with that trough, it's going to bring anywhere from 15 degrees below average, bring you to 40s and the 50s below as it comes through from Monday, Tuesday, and maybe even for Wednesday as that comes through and leaves for Thursday. Showing a nice cold front. Now, Euro is taking it where you could get 2 dips of colder air. Even that second dip could be 15 to 20 degrees below average. Very cool temperatures coming through, but unfortunately, a lot of people are going to be very hot still. So you can see this here as you go through for Wednesday. You still going to have all these hundreds. All this pink is all 100 to 110 degrees. This is temperatures going way far towards the north. But once you go through for the weekend, this is where it lowers down. All the way from Saturday, bringing very cool temperatures. This is 40s and 50s coming through. It could be on the low end of the 40s. It could be on the high end of the 50s. Showing as you go through for Sunday. But you see how it warms right back up right along the Gulf as it comes through, still with cooler weather for the northern side. Bringing these 40s, bringing these 50s, which you're really going to like. But you're not going to like those very hot temperatures. That's still going to come back throughout the daytime, but your highs are going to be in the 60s and 70s this whole time. Now remember, we are going to stay in this pattern as we go towards the end of August all the way into the beginning of September. And still showing once we go into September, this is where hurricane season is really going to kick off, especially for the Caribbean, also into the Gulf. And when we go late September into October, it's going to be very powerful. This is a bit concerning to me because we have a Kelvin wave coming by, which propagates all the way around. And this is meeting up perfectly with that Kelvin wave. I think we're going to see something very strong late September. And the next name on the list is Ferdinand. So thank you so much for your time, everybody. Hope you have a great day. I probably probably will do an afternoon update. I haven't figured that out yet. Thank you for your time, everybody. Before I go, a quick word from our Father. Romans 1:21 and 22. Remember to always give thanks, everyone, because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. Amen. Remember, everyone, God is a steering wheel, not a spare tire. Make sure you thank him, not just because you are saved in these latest outcomes so far in the latest forecast, but make sure you give thanks to God, because he's the one that glory should always go to. It's not man, ourselves. It all comes from God. Above all things, all glory goes to God, our Father in heaven, Yahweh. And I always hope he keeps you safe every single day of your life and forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen. Have a great day, everybody.